Okay, being a realtor, you're going to have lots of tools, lots of skills that you're going to use. But if you had to ask me what the most important skill is that you should master, I'm going to say it's going to be the art of running comparative market analysis, doing a CMA. And the reason being is that's the number one thing people need to know from you. If you are a buyer's agent, you need to be running a full CMA on any home that they want to make an offer on before they make an offer. And you need to send it to them in writing because if you don't, you get yourself in hot water for liability issues. As a listing agent, you need to do a CMA before you ever list a property because you need to know how to price it. So no matter, even on leases, you need to be able to run CMAs to see if the rent price is in line. So no matter what, you're doing CMAs. So let's run through the steps of what I do on a CMA. So what I have here is I've logged into HAR and I've clicked on Matrix, which brought me to this screen. And now the subject property, now these steps I'm going to move through pretty quickly. So what you can't see to the side is that I've gone into Realist, which is right here. Click on Public Records and click Realist, and it brings up this window. And I have put in the address. Well, let's start it over. I had put in the address 14918 Waybridge. So that's the one I'm going to be doing a CMA on. So here it is. So I open that up. And what you don't see is my notes over to the side where I have the address, the zip code. I have the number of bedrooms. I have the number of bathrooms and garage. I have the square footage written down, the lot size. I have the year that it was built. And I have the fact that this home has a pool and that it is a two-story home. How do you tell if it's a two-story home or if it has a pool? Scroll down to characteristics right here, and you can see stories 2, gunite pool right there. So it's got a pool in there. Now sometimes the tax records are incorrect, so you do always need to do your due diligence, but this is a good start. So I also see that there's prior MLS activity in here. So what I always like to do whenever I'm doing a CMA on a home that's been sold before is open up a second search window. So first I'm going to go here, search, and quick single family. That's where I'm going to start. So this is my search screen within Matrix, but I want a second window. So in Matrix you have to hover it over it again, but don't click it. Now you're going to do, on the Mac, it's a 2-finger tap. On a PC, I think it would be a left click or a right click to bring up a menu, and it's gonna give me these options right here. And I want to open a link in a new tab. So if you see what it did, it gave me a new tab right here. So you see how these look identical when I click between them? Great. So now what I want to do is go to sold, take out my date range, and let me put in the address, 14918 Waybridge. Okay, so I put that there. Oop, there's one match. So let's go to the results, and there it is. So I need to see what it listed for, and then when it sold and who sold it. 2012. Ah, look, I sold this one. So anyways, and it sold for 150. So I know that back in 2012, this home sold for 150. But more importantly, why I pull this up is it gives me a real quick back and forth access to be able to see the things that I have written down, the square footage and whatnot. But I also will go in sometimes and look at the pictures of the home from the year that it was sold. Now, the reason I do this is because this tells me what the home looked like in 2012. Now, when you go meet with the seller, you're going to have these pictures either printed out or in your head, and you're going to have to determine whether the home is in better condition now or the same or worse, and that will come into factor later. All right, so let's get cracking on the CMA. So what my goal is now is to come up with 6 to 9 good comparables. I'm talking about 6 to 9 sold homes, ideally within the last 180 days. That's my goal. I don't always get it. Sometimes I only get 3. Sometimes I get 20, and that's too many. And then sometimes I don't have enough activity in the neighborhood, so I have to go back a year, and I have to really pay attention. This is where you really need to know your market because you got to know what the neighborhood's been doing year over year. So what I want to focus on first is I want to start broad and I want to narrow down. Meaning, so I want to start with as many possibilities as I can and I want to narrow them down to just the best ones to try to compare. So first and foremost, that was in Meadow Green subdivision. So I want to search only within Meadow Green the subdivision if possible. Also, with respect to the zip code, which was 77062. So 77062. Why is that important? Because there could be a Meadow Green neighborhood in Katy, and I'm looking in Clear Lake. So I want to make sure. A perfect example is Village Grove. There's a Village Grove in Pasadena and a Village Grove in Pearland. And if you just put Village Grove in the subdivision, you're going to get both, and it's going to screw your numbers because they sell totally different. All right, here's the second little thing I want to tell you about. Meadow Green. Let me put that in. Typed in, and how many matches do I get? 4 matches. All right, let me show you something else. Let's look at the names of these real fast. Piermont, Linkshire, Oak Harbor, and Weybridge. Great. Let me go back to criteria. Now let me put Meadow Space Green. Whoa, my thing just went down to 2. Let me look at those results. Manor Hill and Farndale. Notice that they were 2 different ones. So that means that there are some listings with the neighborhood spelt this way and some with it spelt with that. Guess what? That's going to screw up your CMA. So how do you fix that? All these little question marks next to the tabs and matrix are there for a reason. When you click on one, it brings a little help thing up. And so if I look here in the middle, it says if the full name is not known or the spelling is unclear, use the asterisk as a wildcard to replace the missing information. Okay, so let me show you what happens when I do that. I'm going to come here, I'm going to put an asterisk, and I'll put an asterisk at the end, but then I'm going to come here in the middle, and I'm going to fill that little gap with an asterisk, and look what I got, 6 matches. That was the 4 that I wanted, plus the 2 that were spelled differently. Okay, second thing I want to do to make sure that all of these are in the proper neighborhood is I come up here to the map, and yes, they're all right in the same area. Perfect. Perfect. Now, sometimes when I'm unsure of the neighborhood spelling or anything like that, I'll come in here and do a map search, which I can use one of these features, but my favorite is this one because I can do a Polygon search, and I'm going to start clicking points. Let's say, for instance, I want to search from Pine Lock over to Galveston, click, down here to there, click, over to here, click, over to here, click, and then back to here, and click. And then I will hover over this, and I'm going to say I want to include that shape. Let me show you what else I can do. Now, once I've created that shape, I can completely take out my neighborhood name. And look, I still have 6 matches because I have created this shape. What if you say, oh, I screwed up on my shape and I need to move it? Just pick a spot on the line and move it. Drag it, and then let release of your button. Boom, I just got these 2. Now, that's in a different neighborhood, so I don't necessarily want those. So come back here. But at any time, I can also delete that shape, go back to my criteria, and put the way that I had it. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm also focusing on sold homes. I want to see what's sold, and ideally I want to see what's expired as well when I'm doing a CMA. Now, why would I want to see expired homes? Because those are homes that were listed that did not sell. All right, I can tell you right now, just by putting those in, I'm already up to 29 matches. Way too many. So let me come look at these real fast on my search results. So you notice I only have 5 active properties right now. 1's under contract, pending continue to show. And then from number 7 all the way down here is sold, and only 1 expired. That's fantastic. That means that in the last 6 months, only 1 home that was listed did not sell. That's great. Really good news. And it's kind of funny. It only was on the market 10 days, so they obviously did a short thing and decided not to sell it. So that's why you have that. All right. So now the problem with this is, though, I got some square footages that are 26 and some that are 17 and 16, so it's going to be all over the place. So now let's go back to my criteria, and let me start getting as specific as I can to see what I can start narrowing down. First off, my subject property had how many square feet? When I click back over here, it had 2477. So I want to stay above 2,000 square feet, but I want to stay under 3,000 square feet. Let's start with that. So over here to square feet, let me just put 2,000-2999. And let me see what I go down to. 16 matches. Great. Also, One stories and two stories sell differently. One stories typically sell for higher price per square foot. Why? Why would a one story sell for more per square foot? It is more expensive to build a house outwards than it is upwards. The reason being is when you build a house up as a two-story, you have more wood involved to get the same square footage. When you build it out as a long one-story, the slab is huge and it costs more money in concrete, more money to build. So I only want to focus on two-story homes. So I put a 2 there. And that brings me down to 11, getting even better. Now, you remember what also happened. Sometimes I would be searching with respect to the year that the home was built, but because I know my market over here, I know that all the homes in this neighborhood were built relatively in the same year. Let me go back and double check that. I can always go to results and view. And here's my year built, 86, 86. Well, there was a 1978, but for the most part, they're all in the upper 70s to mid to low 80s. So that's all good for me. Now, this home has, oh, you could also be searching by bedroom counts if needed. Say, for instance, if someone wanted 3 or more, you can't just put 3. You have to put 3 plus. That would be 3 and up. Or they could say, I want less than 4 bedrooms. I don't want any more, so I could do 4 and minus. So that would be 4 bedrooms and under. So anyways, I don't need to do that now. So for the purpose of this CMA, I want to look at homes and see if there's been others with pools. So let me do that. And I get 3 matches that had pools. Let me come to my results and see. One of them's active, and 2 of them were sold. It's really good. Now, this is actually almost zeroed in. This is a very easy CMA to do because this neighborhood is consistent and there's enough homes to get activity. However, I want more than 2 sold properties. So let me see if I can keep this same criteria. But let me go back 365 days, a full year. Now let's see what I go to. 5. I also want to see if any other homes expired within that time frame. So, all right, so now I have 5. So look, I have 1 active on the market right now, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 solds. I'm satisfied with that. I know I told you I wanted 6 to 9, but I've got 4 that have pools, and my property has a pool, and that's what I need. Now, what I do want to see, now that I got these, I need to see if these pictures are going to be in line with what I feel my subject property is condition-wise. So now that I have these, I'm going to go through and look at the pictures, and I'm going to look at the agent notes to see if anything looks like total crap. So first and foremost, this is a 5-bedroom, and the lot size is 13,000 square feet, where my lot size was only 8,250, remember? So that is almost, that's a lot bigger. Let's put it that way. The square footage is very similar, 2477 versus 2508, but it has a bigger lot and it has a 5th bedroom. So let's look at this. So this is my competition. It's so important to look at what's active on the market, not just what's sold. Because when you're going to list a home, you need to know what's out there that you're going to be competing against. Same as when you're working with buyers. You need to see what other homes are on the market, what they're priced at, so you know if the home that your client's about to make an offer on is better or worse than the other ones. Because you don't want to just because someone says they want to make an offer, you don't just immediately say yes like you're a sheep and do exactly what they say. You got to actually show you have some knowledge and expertise and look into things. So I see a clean home. I don't personally like these floors, but they're not bad. The kitchen's very plain. Definitely old countertops, old appliances. This is a clean and move-in ready house. I would not consider it to be an upgraded house. It does have a pretty nice covered patio in that back, and that lot is big, and there's a pool there. So that big covered patio is pretty sweet, and that pool's a big pool. It's not a fancy pool, but it's big, and it looks like it's clean, plastered well, and everything. So, okay, next one. Go to the pictures on this one. All right, now I got some wood floors. Got a nice little bar area right in there. I'm familiar with this layout. I've seen these homes before. So this is clean. This is upgraded. Okay, so I've got a good comp here. Ooh, got a nice covered patio. very lagoon style. Now the funny thing is my subject property has this same type of lagoon style setting, resort style. Ooh, that looks like Las Vegas. So interesting. Anyways, okay, so that's a good comp. Definitely going to stay on the list. What I'm trying to do is eliminate some of the comps. If I see one that looks like shit, it's coming off the market. It's coming off my list. So I'm also paying attention to who my listing agents are in here and who my selling agents are in here. These things are important to look at because this kind of tells you who's working that area. These people are the ones that you might want to send blasts to whenever you list a home. Think about that. Your goal is to get it sold. Talk to the people who sell in that area. All right, this one, again, looks good, looks clean. I see some updates. I like matter of fact, this might be our home. Well, not the home, but I think this is the exact same layout of our subject property. Looking at it, yeah, I'm fairly confident that this is the exact same floor plan. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got the bar area right there. Yes. So, oh yeah. So very good comp. Matter of fact, same house sold for 261.9. It's important to note there. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Now this one looks a little bit different from the exterior. Has a more of a traditional style look. Okay, so again, clean, updated. I'm seeing a lot of consistencies here. None of these look like crap. So that's important. All right, and we go to this next one, last one here. This is the highest selling. Whoa, this one sold really high. Well, it listed really high. Wow, listed at 305, sold at 277. Overpriced much? All right, here we go. Well, that's a nice looking backyard. I can see why they shot high. They converted the garage. Oh, they just epoxied it. Never mind, they didn't convert it. Terrible photos. Terrible photos. That is disgusting. Look at the vignettes on that. So what happened is all the flashes right here, all the shadows are over here. They're shot down. They didn't remove these. I mean, really bad, really poor photos. Photos are so important on a listing. These are shot from a downward angle. Photos should never be shot down. They should always be shot like at chest level, eye level. So look at that. Anyways, okay, enough there. That's another topic. But this is a nice home. Okay, so what I've just determined is that all of these comps are good comps. They're all going to stay on the list. Okay, so what do I do now that I've got my results that I want? I click this to go back to the agent single line display, and I'm going to click that one to select them all. I'm not getting rid of any of them, and I'm going to click on the Quick CMA. When I click Quick CMA, it brings up this, that I've got my little customized header up here. And then this is the spreadsheet that I'm going to give to the client, that I'm going to use when I meet with the client. Because what this does is it gives me all the details. There's my active. It gives me all the little specific criteria right there. Everything, price per square foot, all that good stuff. And then I come down here and I get all of these as well, all of my solds. It even gives me averages down here. So I can tell you that the average list price is $269.73. The average sold price is $255.223. Now, one thing that I am going to say here that I don't like, I am going to go back and exclude one of these sales, and I'm going to tell you why. If you can't figure it out yet, this one is 2,000 square feet, 212, and it sold for 217. You notice I have a 260, a 264, a 217. This 217 is really skewing my numbers. Lots of times I'll take out the lowest and the highest. But if I do that on this one, I'm going to only be left with two comps. But the square footage is just so far less than what our subject is. Let me click out of this. Let me go back, and I'm going to go ahead and change my mind and get rid of that one. Now I'm going to just come back. See, I've unchecked it, so I'm just going to come back to Quick CMA. And then now you'll notice that my average sales price, average list price is 277. My average sales price is 267. So much more in line. Remember, the one that was the exact same floor plan sold at 261.9. What's really interesting is that it listed at 261.9 and sold at 261.9. This one listed at 264.9, sold at 264.9. And so two of them that, in my opinion, were priced correctly, sold correctly. And 28 days, 47 days. Now this one was listed really high, but they took an offer that was more in line with where they probably should have been. But anyways, so those are my comparables, and this is the list that I would print. Notice if I hover down here, it gives me an option to download this. So there, I just downloaded it. Now I'm going to open it up. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to change the name to, you can change it to whatever you want, but I like to put mine as CMA dash 14918 Waybridge, and save it just like that. All right, so this is my CMA, and coming in here, you show people the numbers. I'm looking at this home is probably going to be around the 260 range, in my opinion. I don't really see it going much higher than that because we don't have a lot sizes that compete with 11,009 and 11,000. We're going to be more closely related to this one. So I'd probably be looking at about a 260, and plus we're competing against this one. So I would probably say it'd be somewhere around 260 to 265 on the high end maybe. So, and that is a CMA. So what would I do from this point? If I would take this and meet with the client, or I would produce an email and I would attach this to my email. Come over here. And there she is right there. And I would put, we don't use too much jargon, so comparative market analysis. And I would say, blah, 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 blah. As promised, I've attached your CMA, blah, blah, blah. You can say whatever you want. Anyways, that's if you want to email it to your client. I actually suggest if you're going to a listing appointment, you can send these ahead of time, and then that way when you get there, they've already had a chance to review them. But of course, always print that and take it with you to your appointment. But you should always email these to your buyers before you even begin typing up an offer for them. Again, I'll say that one more time. Do not type up an offer for a client until you have done this in a detailed fashion. Now, it took me a little while because I was going through and explaining it, but being a good CMA creator is all about one thing: practice. It's not hard. It just takes a little time, and you're going to spend a little time in this criteria tab, and you just got to start thinking about your property and what do you need to do. Let's do some other scenarios. What if it had a 3-car garage? Well, then I'd only want to look at homes with 3-car garages. What if it didn't have a pool? Then I would take the pool out. I would look at homes that didn't have a pool. There's just different things that you can do in that. So, but you got to know your property, and you just try to be a private investigator is sort of the way to think about it. What criteria can you put in to get the best comps? This is a very important thing. And make sure you have your zip code in there, unless it's an area that's spread across 2 different zip codes. But don't forget how to do the map search. And let me show you one other cool thing while I'm looking at the map search. You want to know if this area is in a flood zone? You come over here to layers, You click that, and you can click the flood zones tab. And then that tells me it's in a zone X. All of this area is a zone X. So they're most likely not going to require flood insurance. I don't ever guarantee. I just say, hey, it looks like you're in a zone X. It doesn't look like you're required to carry flood insurance. But that's very important for your buyers. Before you make an offer on a home, you want to come in here and look at the map and look at the layers and see that. So anyways, I hope this was helpful on what I do for a CMA. The other thing is I don't do the fancy CMA button here. Maybe if I was going to an appointment where it's a stranger I didn't know and I wanted to really look like I had my stuff together, then I would put that there. I'm at a point where I can talk. I talk myself into these deals. And so, but that is another way you could click this one to do that type of a CMA. The other thing that you can do is if you just wanted to email these to the client so that they could see the photos, because you notice on my quick CMA, you don't get photos or anything of the listing. So one thing that you could do is you can email to your client, and then you can put their name in if you want to, and you can BCC yourself so that you get a copy of it, and then you can put Meadow Green comps, blah blah blah, and then type a little message in there, and then you can hit send, And you can see the type of email that it puts together if I preview it for you. It's a great looking email that they get. They get a map over here that tells them where the properties are, and then over here they get to see this one's for sale, price decreased, and then they get to see the solds, and this is the actual sold prices right here. So then they can go in and they can click the photos directly from the email so that they can kind of see how their home compares to it. Again, you're not there to be the asshole to tell someone that their home sucks or that their home is this or that. And unfortunately, there's just sometimes where you're going to do a CMA and you're going to walk into a listing and it's not going to be the nicest looking place. Now, you can be confident enough to tell them that, hey, your home doesn't quite measure up to these comps. And if you're comfortable saying that, go for it. That's something that I could say. But lots of times the best way to deliver that kind of news is just send them an email like this with the comps and let them look through the photos. They're not dumb. They're going to look and say, oh, well, I don't look that nice. So yeah, maybe I need to go a little lower price. So sometimes let the data do the talking for you. You don't have to always be the deliverer of bad news. But the main thing is that you need to be open, transparent, honest, and you need to show the client that you've done your homework. And that's the biggest things that I can tell you about. So, all right, I've rambled enough. Have a good one.